Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz are fighting about the population of Iran. Here's that clip.
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
Oh, my God.
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
okay.
even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
claims, know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
Yeah, so I love how everybody on Twitter today was like pretending that they knew what the population of Iran was before that aired. I mean, I'm just like, seriously, everybody pretends to be so smart about it today, but okay. But that's happening. So yeah, they were fighting about the population and the demographics of Iran. This is what we're doing now.
It is it's an interesting situation, and you've got a lot. James Lankford just came out a little while ago and say we need regime change, and we need to make sure there's regime change. My problems. You want to bunker bust, okay? Because they don't have. Israel can't do that. They don't have.
We do
bunker busters. Right. We do. And by the way, there's certain things we're not doing, which is giving them stuff that they want. If you guys don't know anything about Israel, spies on us maybe more than any other country outside of China.
Well, that's the next clip. We've got a clip on that too. Yeah.
And they want our stuff all the time. If we've got something new, they always want it. And they want the bunker busters. And we're like, you can't have them. We could deliver it, but you can't have them.
Yeah, you can be our friend and we'll let you have that. Right. I also didn't know that the population of Iran. I mean, I'll just be completely honest about that. And to be quite honest, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care. Just like I don't know the population of Russia and Ukraine. I don't know that off the top of my head. If that makes me a bad person, then I guess I'm a bad person, but I'm just putting that out there.
But you're not calling for the topple of you would figure you would know some stuff about the country that you want to,
you know when I know the population of the United States, we have 340 million people here. I know the population of that because I'm America first. Anyways, I also don't want war with Iran, but if we did have one with them, I believe that we wouldn't be like annihilating 92 million people. I don't think that we would be doing that. Okay, so they also talked about spying and intelligence, specifically about Israel's version of the CIA, the Mossad, spying on America. They talked about that.
Share all of its intelligence with us?
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot. Really? We don't share all of our intelligence with them, but we share a lot. It's a close alliance.
Do they spy domestically in the United States?
Oh, they probably do, and we do as well. And friends and allies spy on each other. And I assume all of our allies spy on us.
And that's okay with you?
You know what? One of the things about being a conservative is that you're not naive and utopian. You don't think humans are all... Part of the reason socialism doesn't work is the mantra from each according to his abilities to each according to his needs doesn't work. As a conservative, I assume people act in their rational self-interest.
So it's conservative to pay people to spy on you?
It's conservative to recognize that human beings act in their own self-interest, and every one of our friends spies on us. And I'm not...
Do you like it? That's my question. I'm not asking whether they have motive to do it. Of course they do. I understand that. And by the way, I'm not mad at them. But you're an American lawmaker, so I just want to know, hold on, I want to know your attitude. Yeah. You said that your guiding principle, in fact, the only principle, the only criterion...
I said guiding, the overwhelming, I wouldn't say only.
Is it in America's interest? Is it in America's interest for Israel to spy on us, including on the president?
it is in America's interest to be closely allied with Israel because we get huge benefits for it. And you want to see the clearest.
But I just want to stop on the spying for a second. That it takes place, as you know, and including on the president of the United States and several precedents. And I just want to know if that's okay and why is it okay? Wouldn't an American lawmaker say to a client state, you're not allowed to spy on us?
So that was an interesting conversation, right? That was I just cannot. So meanwhile, like, listen, I know the spying thing is kind of crazy, right? But like, I'll talk to my husband and be like, hey, I want like this vacuum for the pool, or I'll be looking at the vacuum, and then all this stuff will pop up on my computer about pool vacuums. You know what I mean? Like, I'm being spied on all the time, every day, day in and day out. So the spying thing, does it bother me? Sure. Yeah.
The difference though is Google is not going to try to hold something over your head to make you buy a vacuum.
Are you sure about that? I don't know. At some point, somebody may hold something above my head for something. I don't know.
Well, shouldn't we then say this isn't a good thing?
Everybody, like, I feel like everybody knows my business about everything.
Well, that's because we put our lives out there. It's a much different thing.
Right. Is it? Okay. So so this is, I guess we spy on other people, they spy on us. And how long has this been going on? You know, I mean, like,
forever. The Mossad has always spied, always has. I mean, right. You know, it's go.
So then what's the solution for that, Chad? What is the solution?
Is no solutions.
Do we just stop being like, we need to put in place barriers and obstacles, and we need to say boundaries with Israel and say, no, we don't do that anymore. Like, what is
said that, and they say fine, and then they still do it anyways.
That's the thing. What is Tucker insinuating? Like, what is he trying? What is his end game here?
You know what? But Tucker, I never know what the end game is.
That's the thing. I don't know. Like, what would Tucker and Candace's and like Dave Smith? What is their end game? Is it to be not an ally of Israel?
No,
anymore?
I think it's I think it's to feel not always beholden to Israel. You know, I said this yesterday. Everybody's like, you know, they're our friends and our allies. I'm like, I know that. You also recognize we're their friends and allies. And, you know, don't be the guy that nobody wants to hang out with, because every time we go out, you start a fight and we have to back you up. Every once in a while, you could just have a drink and a meal and you don't have to, you know, do something ridiculous. And I think they feel like we don't want to be beholden to, you know, certain powers to be all the time. And I think they feel like that there's a lot of influence with AIPAC here in America, and a lot of influence that they push out there through the media and through propaganda, in their words, that, you know, we end up being far more beholden, and their relationship with us is far more take than give. And okay, that's fair. That's their opinion. But like anything, what's the truth? It's usually somewhere in the middle.
It is the Holy Land, Shannon. I feel the same way. I absolutely agree with you that it is the Holy Land. And I just will always feel that way. You know, we had a conversation before we got on the air with producer Valen, and I'm going to try to frame this in the right way, because I don't want to, like, I need to make sure that I tread lightly in how I introduce this topic. But like, say we actually did go into World War III. Like, I look at this generation of kiddos, I say younger people, and they are sorely unprepared. And not just physically, but like emotionally unprepared to fight a war.
They're afraid to take phone calls.
Right. Exactly. Like, they are, it's not like, you know, I look at the greatest generation who, you know, jumped off those boats in Normandy. Those were 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, right? You look at 17, 18, 19-year-old kids now, they are built differently.
Yes.
They are just built differently. So just the thought of war is just so different now than it was back then. It's just I can't even imagine. I just can't imagine.
You know, there's a lot. You go back to, they were fighting for a cause that was so great globally. And that was a true threat. Now, when we look at stuff, you think, who's telling us we need to go to war? What's their benefit from it? And why do other people's poor kids in some cases have to go die for your need to get somewhere there may be oil?
But you don't think
that.
You don't think that culture and that the long game of that culture is a true threat to our society and to our well-being as a country?
Iran? No.
Just Islam in general.
Well, that would be on us, though. If we allow that culture, by taking away our culture, allow that to happen. Otherwise, no, they're no threat to us.
Okay.
I mean, do you think, I mean, if you're trying to pay your bills, you know, I saw Tim Dillon say this. Do you think, you know, if you're trying to pay your bills and you're broke, are you going to sleep at night going, oh, Iran, this is all because of Iran? No. Is that culture, or at least that death cult that they have out there, is that a bad thing? Yeah, but you know what? It's their world. Let them live in it. If it comes here, I mean,
then we fight it.
Then we fight it. But and that's just it. And I think that's the issue that a lot of people are trying to make is, you know, you got Lindsey Graham out there going, let's go to war kind of thing. And you're like, you're not going to war, Lindsey.
But we could have said the same thing about Ukraine, though, too. And we've poured hundreds of billions of dollars into that debacle.
But we poured hundreds of billions of dollars into Israel year in and year out, long before Ukraine was ever even a thing. And, you know, we give them what, outside of Ukraine, up until the last 3 years, they have dominated. The most foreign money that goes to anybody is Israel for their protection. And, you know, but it's also a proxy, right? Like Ukraine's fighting Russia for us, so we don't have to.
Okay. Curious what you guys think about all this. Like, I'll be very curious to read some of the comments that are here today, but we've got 24 to 48 hours. And some people out there have sons, you know, I won't include my daughter in that yet, but some people out there have, you know, war fighting age sons. And that is, I know it's freaking some people out, and I'll just be very curious to see what happens over the next 24 to 48 hours.
My stepdaughter and son asked me 2 nights ago, if there was a draft, would we be drafted? And I said, well, there is no draft. And I said, if there was a draft in a few years, would you be drafted? I said, depending on how they do it, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, and so, I mean, it's a fair question, you know, for the greater good of stuff. I think, you know what, it's funny. How would we look at this, Daisy, if we didn't have 20 years and trillions of dollars into Afghanistan to turn the Taliban Afghanistan back over to the Taliban? And how would it look had we not gone into Iraq and there was nothing there and felt like we were lied to? Would this be a different question?
Probably.
That we would be asked? Yeah, and I think I think a lot of people fool me once, fool me twice kind of thing.
Yeah, agreed. Plus, I just think we're just the soul of our country is different than it was 20, 30, 50, 60 years ago. The soul,
of course.
is
I mean,
different.
we have everything. We're safe. We're never going to be invaded. I mean, my God, we've got this thing here has changed everything. Social media and stuff. It's changed so many things.
Yeah, we're very comfortable. Very, very comfortable now.
So we should make everybody uncomfortable?
Well, no. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, I don't want to go to war. I also believe that Trump doesn't want to go to war either. I don't think he wants to go to war either. And I'm also very, very grateful that he's our president and Kamala is not. Because you can only imagine what would be going on if she were president.
You know what? If she was president right now, I can guarantee you almost as much as you could that we would be at war. Because the hawks behind her would easily overrun her.
Right. Without question. So I'm grateful that he's in the position that he's in. And all the people who are poo-pooing the fact that, I shouldn't have voted for him. You're an idiot. You're a freaking idiot is what you are. If you're saying I shouldn't have voted for him. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let it play itself out. Now, if 3 weeks from now, we've got boots on the ground and we've got soldiers dead and this thing's become a giant, huge hornet's nest. Well, then there's a conversation to have for then. But, you know,
it's like the hypotheticals are driving me crazy. Yeah. And the people who are standing on their pillars of, you know, I think I know what's best, or I think I know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what he's doing.
50 things that can happen.
Right.
And it could also be the one thing where nothing ends up happening.
Exactly. And then what are they going to do?
They stand like cats and they do this.
And all those things that they've said are going to live on forever. And I will play them.
Yeah.
And
then there's also the other side of it where this could end up being just a giant, huge cluster, which is, we don't know.
We just don't know.